Alrighty, boys and girls, time for Chapter 10, Section 2, Unbiased and Biased Samples. Now, the interesting thing about this lesson is it's entirely vocab. So, I'm going to go ahead and put some vocab words up here so you can copy them down while I explain what each one means. Here we go. Okay, so we're going to deal with unbiased and biased samples. Unbiased samples are samples that represent the entire population. There is no favoritism or discrimination of any kind in choosing the samples. And these are generally considered valid. They give valid results. Now there's two kinds we're going to talk about, we're going to deal with. First one is a simple random sample. A simple random sample is a sample where every single item has an equal chance of being chosen. Nothing's giving preference or priority. The easiest example to understand is names from a hat. So, for example, if I had a ticket that I gave to every student in a class, and I said, write your name on it, I put all those tickets in a hat, and reached in without looking, chose one person at random to be the winner. That would be a simple random sample. Everything had an equal chance of being chosen or winning. Now, the other one is a systematic random sample. This is a little bit different. That word systematic, you should think system. Items are chosen by interval, by mathematical sequence. So, for example, if you stopped every 10th person walking into the cafeteria, or every 30th person coming into the school, or if you worked in a car manufacturing plant, and maybe every 100th car off the assembly line you checked out to make sure that it functioned correctly, that would be an example of systematic random sampling, a systematic random sample. And again, these are considered to be valid ways to get unbiased samples. Now let's take a look at biased samples. Okay, so next we're going to talk about biased samples. And biased samples are samples where one or more things were favored. Now, these are definitely not things that we like as far as statistics are concerned, and generally we consider these samples to give results that are not valid. Now, there's two kinds of biased samples we want to talk about. The first one is a convenience sample. Now, a convenience sample, basically this consists of some part of the population that's either easy to access or it's cheap to access. For example, suppose I wanted to find out information about all the students in the county or the city or state. Well, instead of looking at students from every school in the county or city or state, if I instead, let's say I was asking about, or I wanted to find out about favorite ice cream flavors, if I only asked the students that I personally teach in my classes, well, that would be very convenient to me. I wouldn't have to go to other schools. I could do it very easy while I'm teaching day to day. But it wouldn't necessarily represent what all the students in the entire county or city or state think. So even though it's convenient, it's going to give me skewed results. Now, the next sample, which is the worst of all, is a voluntary response sample. This only involves those who choose to participate and generally has a propensity towards being negative. Doesn't have to be, but it can be. An example of this would be Yelp or Amazon reviews. Sometimes you get a receipt from a place and they say, fill out some survey or call us and let us know how we did. We'll give you a coupon code for a free cookie, something like that. These results are never really considered valid. If somebody's responding in order to get a free item, they're either not going to care about their responses and or going to tell you what you want to hear just to get whatever, money or food, whatever you're offering. With reviews, an easy way to think about this is imagine three scenarios. Imagine you go out to dinner with your family or friends, and the food's okay, service is okay. Chances are you're not going to go home and write a review on that restaurant or that experience. Now, if instead, let's say you go to the restaurant and the food's really good and the service is really, really good, you may go home and write a review. You might not. Could go either way. But if you go to that restaurant and everything is so horrible. I mean, imagine you're picking up your sandwich and cockroaches are falling out of it when you're biting into it, and you reach into your French fries and you realize that there's different bugs that are deep fried there. Maybe there's a rat swimming in your milkshake. Who knows what's going on. Well, if things are that bad, not only are you going to likely complain while you're there, but probably when you go home, you're probably going to write a horrible, long, lengthy, detailed review about what a horrible experience you had. So, for these reasons, voluntary response samples, they're just not really considered valid. Usually you get negative responses or just invalid responses because people only want to tell you what you want to hear in order to get, free cash or whatnot. So, having said that, these are all the vocab words for this section. When you look at samples and you read about scenarios, you want to be able to evaluate them and say whether or not the results are going to be valid or not valid. If they're valid, you want to be able to identify, is it valid because it's a simple random sample or because it's a systematic random sample. If they're invalid, you want to be able to state it's invalid because it's a convenient sample, or you want to explain how something's a voluntary response sample, so it's invalid. All right, boys and girls, I'll see you in class tomorrow.